Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena for a, unfortunately, day late video. I had some technical issues with my recording software, just throwing audio outputs left, right, and center, and I couldn't figure out why it was. So, yeah, the day ended up going a little too long. But we're back. Today we're going to be doing some Arena Cube Draft, long anticipated from myself at the very least, and hopefully you guys have been anticipating it as well. So Arena Cube, very fun format, something that we've played quite a fair few times. I think this one's been updated with the Mystical Archives as well as the Historic Anthology. If we can see Elish Norn in here, yeah, that means that the new Historic Anthology and Strixhaven and Mystical Archives have been sprinkled in here, so we've got lots of new cards to check out. I really do love this cube. There's a lot going for it that's pretty sweet. One notable thing that they consistently do is exclude Ugin from the pool, which I just absolutely love. It's almost as like nobody likes Ugin, but they have to play him because he's that powerful. So, you know, is what it is. Anyway, so what we're doing, we're going to be doing a little bit of a cube draft. It's going to be normal limited kind of environment. We're going to be picking packs between other human beings. It is Phantom, so you don't get to keep the cards. And if we go 5 wins with whatever deck, we get it for free, plus 2 rares and an uncommon. So, let's get started, shall we? Let's not waste too much time, because, you know, draft portion usually takes quite some time. I don't know what I'm going to do for the draft, as far as, like, am I going to force an archetype or anything like that. So it's going to all come down to basically what we're given, I think. Typically when I force, like, Simic or, like, a aggro deck, we end up doing really well. Those are the 2 archetypes that I seem to really flourish in. But you know what, I kind of have something like Control on the mind. Maybe I can play a Control deck. I did notice Counterspell was in the pool. So who knows? And let's have a look. Well, there's a Scoot Swarm. Scoot Swarm's very good. There's also a Cultivate, Vastwood Surge, Thrashing Brontodon. We could get away with a ramp deck. There's also Torbran and Earthshaker Kenra in here, so mono red is a thing that we could do. There's plenty of white cards in here as well. As far as like the most powerful cards are concerned, it's like Torbran, Scoot Swarm. Probably like the big ones. I'm not sure about like Redain and the value of that card in particular. I'm sure it's got some usage, but like the Snowland side's not really going to matter. I don't know. Maybe we go Torbran. Maybe we go some Magro. Let's do that. Oh, my favourite cards, but I take it too often. We do have an Obosh in here, which is pretty cool. A Magmatic Channeler. Could do like a Boros list as well, because we know that there's a fair bit of white, and therefore something like Lawhold's Command is pretty decent as well. God, there's so much in this pack. Yeah, let's do like Boros aggro maybe. I could still take Obosh for that reason, but you care about odd cards if I want to put you in the companion zone. And yeah, not really seeing that with a Torbran as our first pick. I might take Lawhold's Command here. Mizzix's Mastery is pretty cool, but I don't play with this card enough, so that's why we're going to do it. Phoenix of Ash is pretty solid. Sigrid, God's Favoured. 3 mana 2/2 with Flash, First Strike, protection from God creatures. Whenever it attacks... Oh, sorry, whenever it enters the battlefield, exile an attacking or blocking creature. I think you just take Phoenix of Ash. I think it's just better, right? Not too much in this pack, but like Sigrid's not something that'll likely be taken by many people. There was also a Crawling Barons in there as well. I would accept the Crawling Barons on the way back. We've got Legion's Landing, Usher of the Fallen, Thundering Rebuke. I like them all, honestly. I mean, this is a 2/1 on turn 1. That's pretty reasonable. Elder GG. It's so difficult for me to not take that card, but I think we're locked into Boros aggro at this point. We could still technically be like mono red and take this, but this doesn't hit face, so it doesn't really go with my plan all that much. I'm torn, honestly, on these two. Is it Legion's Landing or Usher? I want to say Landing, but I also like Usher. I don't know. We'll go with Usher of the Fallen. We have seen a Toski, I think, in the pack as well, and that's a card that if anyone picks, they'll probably want an Usher. We've got the Adorned Pouncer. We've got Captain Lannery Storm. I do love me some Lannery Storm. Young Peasy as well. You're well, you're only going to be used on the Shale side of things, but a counter on a creature that enters the battlefield this turn. It's fine. You just gotta take Lannery Storm, though. It's just like, it's one of my pet cards. I absolutely love it. Here we have Chandra Heart of Fire as a bit of late game potential, I suppose. There's also the Ministrant of Obligation, which can turn into 2 1/1 flyers. Keep that pressure going, I suppose. Definitely has some value there. Keep ourselves low to the ground. Might be better than taking Chandra, and Teferi's Protection's not where we want to be. Yeah, let's go with that. Ooh. Valakut's Awakening, Sajiri's Shelter. Nothing too impressive for us in this pack. It's also Act of Treason as well, which is maybe a card we want to consider. I kind of like the idea of Sajiri's Shelter giving protection. It's basically a free card in our deck, and it could keep our Torbran alive or make an unblockable creature for us. Okay. I think I'm taking Embereth, another free card. Benlish Marshal's difficult to cast, especially when we're aiming towards, like, base mono red. Magda's okay, but we don't have the dwarf payoff there for us. And Earthshaker Kenra came back. Very nice. Definitely taking that. Oh my god, this pack was made for me. Is it Vanguard or Obosh? The tokens are even. Even, odd. Odd. Tokens are even. I think I'd take Vanguard, honestly. Sorry, Obosh. Crawling Barons came back as well. Nice. Yeah, Obosh just doesn't quite line up with what we want to be doing, I don't think. We're not going to have enough 1-drops to really have that kind of early game aggression that leads into a turn 5 Obosh with a big old board ready to go. Here, we're not really picking any of these, so let's just take a Malachi of Rebirth, I guess. Each creature without flying and each planeswalker. That means we're going to take the Adorned Pouncer. Chandra Heart of Fire came back as a bit of top end. That's not too bad. And Chromatic Orrery. Nobody on that Niv Mizzet value, I guess. Ooh, Atarka's Command. We got Elite Spellbinder in here. Vyashina Pyromancer as well. I feel like red's mostly open in our packs, so like I should probably value something like Elite Spellbinder more than anything else. It also allows us to hopefully dodge a couple of board wipes. Aethersphere Harvest is not bad either. I don't think we can make the splash for this Atarka's Command. We've already thrown a Rootbound Crag back in the first pack. So we'd need like a Stomping Ground, otherwise we'd have to play Forests in our deck, and I don't really want to be doing that. So I think we're going to take Spellbinder. Sarkhan, a Mana Tithe. It's an Ephemerate. This is 3 damage to any target. We are lacking a little bit of removal. We are kind of on like the Smork value right now. There's also Showdown of the Scalds. This is really good top end. Oh, this is so tough. Our packs have been really nice to us. I think this is a little too awkward being sorcery speed. We can probably find a lightning strike down the line. This is really good late game. It's also Mana Tithe as well, though. Mana Tithe's got to come back. It's got to come back. Double Vision, Devil's Play, Spikefield Hazard, got Faithless Looting. God's Willing's here as well. I hate that I've got these Japanese alt arts. You guys can't read it unless I hover it. It does my head in. Maybe Devil's Play is just like a closing sequence. Also has that flashback as well, so if our opponent like mills us, then we basically draw a card off of that. I don't think it's Faithless Looting, it's not really what our deck's trying to do. It's also Spikefield Hazard. I kind of like Spikefield Hazard a lot. But is it going to come back? Maybe. I'll take the Devil's Play. Soulscar Mage is exactly what we want. Isamaru and Scorching Dragonfire are cards that we hope come back. Claim the Firstborn could be useful. There's a Lightning Strike. No lands on colour for us. Yep, Lightning Strike it is. We do have a Savaitrium here. There's also a Mangara. Savaitrium would allow me to have a Black Splash, as well as being a dual land that I can cycle away. Black Splashes could be the 1 mana 2/1 Skelemons as well. Is it just better than Mangara, which is a bit slow and not really what we're trying to do? Don't think it's Crush the Weak. Don't think it's Tribunal. Yeah, I guess we're taking the land. Sram's Expertise. It's about the only playable here, I think, for us. Angel of Invention. Throbbing Inspector. Oh, but there isn't a Ketra's Monument. Ketra's Monument's pretty good. As is, like, weaponize the monsters in conjunction with the Ketra's Monument, and even the Angel of Invention as a top end. That's a weird one. I'm going to take the Monument. Pyromancer came back. Lovely. If we get anything back from this pack, I don't know. I don't draft enough to know whether or not I'm getting this back. I'd love the Bone Splitter most of all. Someone took the Mana Tithe from this pack. How dare they? I guess I take the Ephemerate. Not sure it does anything necessarily, but I'll shove it in the sideboard. Maybe we get some ETBs. I don't think we do. Like, the best thing we can do is, like, Earthshaker, Kenra, Reset, or Pyromancer, ETB. So, Dread Wanderer was the card I was thinking about for our Black Splash. I'm not entirely sure whether it's actually worth it, though. But are any of the other cards going to be good for me? Even not, I selected it. I'm going to put it in the sideboard. We'll see what happens. Kazul's Fury and claim the Firstborn. Take the claim. Take the black card for the Black Splash, maybe. Unlikely, but take Kruger. Khan's Bastion, I don't think we're running. And final pack. Inspiring Vantage, I think is exactly what we want here. We've got an Akum Hellhound, though. She's really nice, but a little bit of mana fixing will never go too badly for us, especially the fast land that's on colour. Hellhound's likely to come back, I would say. There's Lava Runner. Heroic Reinforcements, I think, is the pick here. Our instant and sorcery count, I don't think is terribly high. We've only got 6, so Lava Runner, as good as it is a 1-drop, it's probably likely to come back, and Reinforcements is just good on its own. It's Magma Opus, Bergie, Direfleet Daredevil's pretty good. As is Seasoned Hallowblade, though. If we could get like Maul of the Skyclaves on a Hallowed Blade, that's just a free win quite a lot of the time. Think Hallowed Blade's better than Daredevil? Bone Crusher Giant, exactly what we're looking for, but there is a pathway, but I'm not going to take the chance on Bone Crusher. I don't think that even stands a chance of wheeling. So we hope for the Boros pathway, I guess, from that pack to come back. Dragon Master Outcast was also okay, but slow. It's still a 1-1 for 1, you know. Has its value in our deck, at least. I don't hate what we've got here. It seems a little bit... I don't know. A little bit more removal wouldn't go amiss. I would be all for that, I think. But we are kind of, like, currently building a deck that just attacks. It just attacks, and if it ceases to be able to do that, then it's got a bit of a problem. Luckily for us, though, we've got plenty of flyers, so continually attacking shouldn't be too much of an issue, especially when we heroic reinforcements the flyers right over the top. We've just got like loads of different ways that we can ping our opponent's face directly as well. When the combat comes to an end, we've got like Devil's Play, Lawhold's Command, Chandra Heartfire, all of these can hit our opponent's face directly. So the last little points that we really need should be covered by our top end. But yeah, low to the ground. Removal, please. I don't know if Lightning Bolt's in this cube. It probably should be. I'll take a Lightning Bolt in a heartbeat, I think. There's probably not much in these packs that would stop me from wanting one of those. Well, there's a pathway that I can put on green. It's too late for that, though, because Ataka's command's already gone. Kabira Takedown. Our creature count's at 13 right now. That might be the call. Could do Reese the Redeemed, but I doubt that's really where we want to be. And Sweltering Suns is definitely so far off from what we want here. Oh, Anax. Fantastic. An Embercleave, actually, on the topic of Anax would be very nice. I think it's better than Thermal Alchemist, because we don't have the instant and sorcery count for that just yet. Pride of Conquerors. Yeah. Mikaeus is pretty interesting, as is Banefire. But it's got to be that. Rekindling Phoenix. We almost had that Mardu splash. Judith would be okay for it. Just didn't really get the land base that would make me comfortable to do a 3-color deck, I don't think. Especially when we got so many good red and white cards. There's really not a great reason to make that crazy splash. There's a Coom Hellhound. Another 1-drop for us. Lava Runner came back as we thought it might, although actually I didn't see the Loxodon the first time around. Maybe it's Loxodon. Yeah, I think that might be the case. Diefleet Daredevil didn't get touched. Our pathway came back. Yeah, Boros was just a gold mine for us here. So I think the plan is to essentially cut a little bit at the top end and go like hyper aggro with our pile. I want most of our cards to basically be stopping at 3 with a couple of 4 and 5 drops to close out the game that way. Take the Isolated Chapel. Aspirant, definitely. I didn't even spot you. I will mention as well, you can probably leave your comments down in the comment section about why didn't you pick this card? Why didn't you even consider it? Hopefully, these past few packs going round where I've said I didn't even know it was in the pack should be a pretty good indicator of why I didn't pick something that you really like. So, here, as I said, I wanted to make sure that we've got a really low to the ground curve, because it does mean that we can cut lands, which I like to do, as many of you are aware. Cutting lands is my jam. But I also want to trim the top end. I think Chandra is probably good to go. Showdown's kind of fine. I think we can cut 2 lands as well, because we've got the Kabira takedown, the Sajiri shelter here, and the fact that we are kind of low to the ground. Should make that okay. It's 2 planes as well. Wonder if that factors into anything. I'm also not sure about the Savai Triome at this point, whether that should be one of the cuts, maybe the Triome and the planes. I don't see myself cycling this very often, so it's basically just a Boros tap land, and I want to be getting off to a very, very speedy start. So I think I'm going to go down the Triome, I'm going to go down the planes, and then we've got 6 more cards to cut here. Claim the Firstborn's a little bit weird. Mostly because I don't have a way of sacking the creature after I've stolen it, so it's basically just clearing the way. What's our removal look like? That's probably a question we should ask ourselves. We've got Lawhold's Command. We have Bone Crusher Giant. It's pretty low if I remember rightly. Lightning Strike, technically Devil's Play. Technically Claim the Firstborn. Yeah, you see, we're just kind of trying to smash through, so... If we're... Oh yeah, we also have the Kabira takedown. I just don't see Claim the Firstborn being all that great. I don't know, though. It could be pretty reasonable. Like, we steal a creature, and then we get ourselves, like, Pride of Conquerors. With the Ascension to give us all +2/+2. We swing through, we've taken a blocker away. Could be pretty reasonable. This to me seems like the kind of deck that I should probably make cuts to off camera, because I could be here all day considering I've got to cut 6 of these cards and I want to keep every last one of them. So I am going to make a quick cut here, and then we'll be right back with the changes, and I'll walk you through what I decided in the end. So see you in a few minutes. Alright, so I think I've gotten down to what is as much as I'm willing to cut. We've gone with a 41 card special. I left my mana base alone, so the 2 lands you saw me cut are the only ones that actually went. I was thinking to myself that I would probably cut the curve as much as possible, so I've gotten rid of some cards that are in the top end that seemed a little bit slow, those being Venerated Loxodon and Sram's Expertise. I did also make a couple of cuts to the early game with like Adorned Pauser. This is just a card that I don't see myself being able to do much with it, except for by like having Magical Christmas Land combos, like drawing Luminarch Aspirant with it every single time without fail. I don't know, that could be a bit of a weird one, but like getting to the Eternalize and making a 4/4 for my entire turn just doesn't seem like a thing that I'm going to be doing. I also kind of cut the Devil's Play as well, because I think if I cut the curve low enough, we might not need this. And any other like burn spells that go directly to face, like Lightning Strike and Bone Crusher Giant, I think should cover it on their own. But yeah, that's essentially the changes that I made. I'm not totally convinced on this one, but it seems pretty reasonable. I think we'll, between the sheer amount of flyers that this deck actually has, I think we should be able to close out a fair few games, and typically only lose to the matchups that we were going to lose to begin with, so like, you know, Control and Life Gain or anything like that. Those ones that would give us a little bit of trouble. Kept the Monument in, because we do have a reasonable creature count of 17 here, so going wide and then having Pride of Conquerors or Heroic Reinforcements to close out the game, I think is still a reasonable expectation, as well as Lawhold's Command as well, the +1/+0, making these 2 ones with Vigilance and Indestructible, I think is just a pretty cool combo. So I'm willing to give this one a shot. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. If you do, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe as well for more future Arena content. And with that said, let's continue. This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons and channel members that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to a personal deck critique from myself every month, then hit the join button down below, or check out the Patreon link in the description. With all that said, let's get into the gameplay. Alrighty then, we're in, and this one seems fine. It's a little bit heavy on the 3 drops, but they're pretty good 3 drops, so I'm going to keep this one. See what we're up against. So we get an Earthshaker Kenra on 2 as well, so we're still off to a pretty reasonable start with a 2-1 haste. That's a bit of late game potential as well. So our opponent did some mulling. They are also a red deck. I think we're almost certainly going to go with the Earthshaker Kenra here. It could get Spitefield, Hazarded, or Shocked, or anything like that, but yeah, that's totally fine if that's where they want to be. Who am I to stop them? Lava Coil, the Kenra. Alright, that's pretty good use of removal there, for sure. For sure. Well, next time we have 3-drop plus Soulscar Mage. That's pretty nice. Maybe I'll go with the Spellbinder here. Try to keep them from playing anything relevant. Oh, they've got an Embercleave. Well, I think I'm going to go after the Phoenix of Ash, because short of them drawing a 3-drop, that means that they've got nothing to do next turn. Which is exactly where I want them to be. They drew a playable. Okay. Is what it is, I suppose. Alright, so Soulscar... It's going to have to be Soulscar Ministrant here, I guess. Yeah, our mana's a little bit awkward. Most of our deck is ended up with white cards, actually. Which puts into question, to a certain extent, the power level of Torbran, of course. So they've got themselves a Rekindling Phoenix that can block my Spellbinder. They can also Embercleave it up as well, which is really awkward. Where do I want to be here? I think I'm just going to go with the Akoum Hellhound, since this has haste, and this benefits from a land drop, which we don't have to make here. I think that's where we want to be. Yeah, getting stopped by a Rekindling Phoenix really stings. I'm kind of hoping that they Embercleave it up, because I think we can potentially win on the crap back here. Not present lethal, mind you, but... Siege Gang Commander. Make some Gobbos, and that can blow up my board, so I need an answer to that. Doubt they're getting in. No. 3 mana to give the +2/+0. It's the only reason I would be able to trade off into our opponent here. Yeah, we're in a tough spot. I think it's pretty much a given at this point. I kind of feel like we're swinging in, though. If we swing in, they profitably block Phoenix of Ash, taking 3. They profitably block with Siege Gang Commander on Soulscar. They can block the Ministrant, but that gives me some 1/1 flyers. And then there's no profit for the Akoum Hellhounds. It's a bit of a weird one. Yeah, to be honest, I don't think that's a good idea. I've decided. The issue is they've got an Embercleave, and now they can run it through with just the Rekindling Phoenix. And they can use the Siege Gang Commander to pick off every single one of my creatures. There isn't a single card on my board right now that doesn't get severely punished by Siege Gang Commander. And they know it. They definitely know it. So, where do they want to put their Embercleave? Could make them put it on the Phoenix. Like so. Block here. Block here, perhaps? Something like that. I'm gonna lose. I am just going to lose. If it wasn't for Phoenix, we'd have, like, this attacking board, and it wouldn't take us very long at all to close out the game with that, but opponent with their cleave. They can sack around us as well. It's all kinds of bad for us. Yep. There goes my board. The way this works is that actually increase... It does increase the cost, right? So they can't Ember Cleave anymore? Yeah, I think that's exactly why they're hitting my Spellbinder. So they kind of did a little bit of an uh-oh punty. Which is okay. Let's get Torbran out there. Let's make our land drop. Let's swing on in. 4 damage on the Hellhound. Ministrant, if it gets blocked, makes us 2 1/1s. Phoenix of Ash hasting through as a... Is it a 3/3? Yeah. So it's actually dealing 5. Let's see if they dare to Ember Cleave me here. So this is 12. I don't much care about 12. Ember Cleaving straight away. So you can sack itself. So I guess they could do that on the Akoum Hellhound here. That's maybe their plan. I'm going to make them do it rather than taking extra damage unnecessarily. Because we were only going to deal the damage and then sack it anyway. So we're down to 9. There's an Anax. We can't Phoenix and Anax. Annoyingly. So we do need to, I think, play the Phoenix and have it as a blocker. So let's get swinging in here. 4 damage with the Torbran. Probably gets blocked by the Initiate. They amass. We make a blocker. And maybe we're dead? Like... This is 8. Yeah, we're already still dead, aren't we? So their graveyard should be sufficiently full for the Phoenix. Maybe the Ministrant attack was bad. I kind of needed them to block it, though, so I could make my 1/1s, which would have done far better for me here, but yeah. Just didn't really line up the way I needed it to. Oh, no, the Phoenix is, Oh, please. Ah. Oh. I was going to say the Phoenix isn't actually being escaped right now. I thought it was. But yeah, that'll do. That's all she wrote. -3. Very close, though. Very close. Even though we were definitely 100% losing that, I think, every time. Still very close. It was almost 95% in my favor. Oh, not in my favor. But, oh well. Next game. Alrighty then, we're in, and this sounds fine. It's a 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop situation with Monument getting some triggers off the Phoenix. We can make the Phoenix larger as well with the Luminarch Aspirant, which will be growing from turn 2 onwards, so I'd say this is pretty okay. Blue Source and Spectral Sailor. Alright. Ministrant of Obligation for us. I like our position against a deck that wants to run Spectral Sailor. Not one that could potentially kill my Aspirant here, though. If we see like a stomp off of a Bone Crusher Giant, that would really suck. Yeah. A 1-for-1's okay. Ooh, Stomp, speak of the devil. We're going to go with the Ketra's Monument here. If my opponent's going to have counter magic, then I want to make sure that they're at least not getting full value from it, so a little bit of cost reduction here and a little bit of a cast trigger means that I still get my 1/1s even if our opponent does have counter magic. So getting in for 1, it's not going to matter too much. Land would just be perfect, honestly. Charter Course draws 2. Well, there's a land and then there's a tap land for our aggro deck, and that really stings. I'm going to keep the Stomp around, because if I draw a land, I can go 2-drop, 3-drop. So let's go Ministrant, make a 1/1, make a 2/1. I'm in no real need to kill the Spectral Sailor, because it basically trades off into a card that makes itself better when it dies. So if they want to Sailor and block the Ministrant, then that's totally fine by me. Still, a land is definitely the best thing we could draw, because I'm most likely going to need to Stomp. And if I'm going to need to Stomp, I would like to be able to play a 3-drop as well. So it really needs to be a red source. Opponent's deciding, I guess, whether or not they're planning on blocking. Folio of Fancies? Okay. Well, we got an Usher of the Fallen. I think that delay means that they've got counter magic. That would be my guess. I'm willing to see if they do. Let's go for a Stomp here on Spectral Sailor. They can do each player draws a card. Boon of the Wishgiver. So this opens up my attack here, so it means I don't have to trade with the Ministrant, even though I'm perfectly okay with it in general. And now we're looking for, like, heroic reinforcements off the top and hoping our opponent doesn't have Anger of the Gods or Sweltering Suns. Would a deck that runs Spectral Sailor run either of those? Who knows? Wow. Gets rid of 4 cards to draw 3 more. It was Valakut's Awakening, Glasspool Mimic, Orrery, and Spire Bluff. I'd say they're pretty reasonable cards to get rid of. So here I can Daredevil the Scorching Dragonfire and kill the Ox to keep my aggression going. I'd say that's pretty insane. Scorching Dragonfire. Could also be a Charter Course to keep the card advantage going, but I think the beatdown plan's also pretty reasonable. If they do have Anger of the Gods, they're going to want to use it on a board like this, and then I can follow that up with our Phoenix. We've gotten rid of Scorching Dragonfire, so their ways of getting rid of this are dwindling. So yeah, if we did get like a Pride of Conquerors or Heroic Reinforcements, I could see us winning next turn. Question is, what has our opponent drawn? Any creature in a graveyard. Oh dear. Yeah, I guess, well, it could have been a 5-mana Spectral Sailor. Come on, opponent. Don't sell yourself too short. Oh, that was wonderful. Yeah, nothing in my graveyard. I'll take that. 1 and 1. The super aggression that we were going for, our game plan, definitely worked out there, and it was the reason why I do like playing these aggro decks, is most people just aren't prepared to get endlessly beaten down as early as like turn 1 and turn 2, potentially losing on turn 4. It's just not a thing that most people seem to expect in Arena Cube, I've noticed. But you know what, it is kind of a little bit of a dirtly format, so when you can punish it with aggro, it's pretty sweet. If you are going to make a slow deck, then you best have the removal you need to not die to like Boros and Rakdos and Mono Red, things like that. Our opponent did not, unfortunately, so the victory was ours, and on to the next game we go. Oh my, it's Hedonism bot. And this sounds pretty decent, actually. Turn 1, 2, 1. Turn 2, Lightning Strike our opponent's blocker to push through, or even make a 1-1 if they don't do that. Turn 3, Lightning Strike if we haven't had to use it, or whatever we've top decked, and then turn 4, win the game. Seems to have a reasonable game plan. Ooh, Akoum Hellhound. Yeah, that's better, right? Make good use of the landfall while we still can. It actually attacks as a 2-3, so it attacks better than Usher the Fallen does, and we can play that next turn. Probably less likely to need the Lightning Strike this way as well, which is really nice. So, make our land drop. Swing in for 2. And I'm pretty sure we're going with the Usher the Fallen here. Our opponent on blue-white, playing around Mana Tithe. We might want to consider doing that quite a lot. Somebody values Mana Tithe. Warkite Marauder. Okay. It wants to die. How would it like to do that? I think it's going to have to be a Bone Crusher Stomp here. That way we can develop the 4-3 at a later date. It's also less damage than a Lightning Strike, which would be better suited to our opponent's face. See if maybe they've got an Ephemerate or God's Willing or anything like that. Nope. If they did, they want to let it go. Alright. So no Wrath of God, please. But just like the Spectral Sailor matchup before it, is this really a matchup where our opponent runs Warkite Marauder and Wrath of God? What is that, a Seal Away? Is that in the format? Could be a counterspell. I'm not going to play into conditional counterspells with Heroic Reinforcements just yet, especially if I don't need to. So I think I'm just going to play my land. I might even boast with Usher. I guess it depends on what our opponent does here. Let's see if they do have a Seal Away or a Flash Creature. Opponent goes to 10. So I could make a 1-1, Lightning Strike our opponent down to 7, and then land Heroic Reinforcements should be lethal. I play around Wrath of God by not committing an extra card in my hand to the board. I think that's where we're going with this. This means if our opponent does have a blocker as well, I can use my Lightning Strike on it. Nimble Obstructionist. Okay. So I think we're going to let that go while we still can. Our opponent may hold it back. If they do, we'll target it with the Lightning Strike, I think. And they might have a card that they want to play that's better than the Obstructionist. Mangara. Okay. See if they get in with the Obstructionist. If they do, I don't need to Lightning Strike it. Okay. So they're going to 7. I'm playing a land drop for Hellhound. Mangara is going to block it, so I'm going to rule out Hellhound. They're going up to 9. This is 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. They're dead. They're dead if I just hit them with a Lightning Strike to the face. Okay. Time to do the math. Reinforcements and all attack. Our opponent does get to draw a card, which is pretty decent. But yeah, the best they can do is block a 3 here. 3, 5, 7, 9, dead. Good game. Exacxies. You love to see it. 2 and 1. That was pretty nice. I love heroic reinforcements. It used to be an actual card back in the standard days, and I loved it even then. It's just such a good card. I played it with Path of Metal, I think, which was the one that cared about creatures with First Strike, Haste, and Double Strike, I think, something like that. And then you'd get a pretty sweet land, which I think was like shocking your opponent or killing a random attacking creature. And then you use that to get rid of Carnage Tyrants. It was really cool. Really cool. Not exactly hilariously competitive, but it was very fun. I do miss those days back when Standard wasn't terribly overpowered with like I win the game combos like Ultimatum. But, you know, I think once rotation comes around, we'll be back to that point, and the excitement for Standard will once again return, I think. But either way, on to the next game. Okay, opponent goes first. We have Hellhound on 1, Hallerblade on 2, and then Shelter and Soulscar on 3. It's a hand. It is certainly a hand. Ministrant of Obligation is a card. So are we up against the Mono Red Menace again? We're up against Rakdos this time. So maybe a little bit more removal from our opponent. Time will tell. So we're going to go give +2/+2. Is Moment of Craving in this format? Now would be the time to use it. Lightning Strike. So I could give protection from red here. They seem to care quite a fair bit about this. I get to keep my aggression going. Hallerblade protects itself. Obligation profits from being dead. I think I actually am going to take this weird use of protection. And then we got Soulscar Hallerblade next turn. Plus a land drop as well to get the Hellhound going. This card's not going to get its value for too long, but if it can get 2 removal spells out of our opponent... ooh, we can hit them with a Kolagun's command with our Direfleet Daredevil. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I think Ministrant gets destroyed here. So land, Hallerblade, Soulscar. Discard the land to Hallerblade if we need to. And then next turn we've got Daredevil plus Lightning Strike out of their graveyard. Ooh. Oh, they can just get protection, it's not that good. It's only opponent's right as well, so... Yeah, we Daredevil, Lightning Strike the Daredevil and swing through. Torbrand, but bad mana. Our white sources seem to be not red sources right now. So let's go Daredevil. I will discard Torbrand to Season Hallerblade if they put me in that position. So this even prowesses as well, so we get to swing for 5. Soulscar means indestructible cards don't really matter there. Doomblade, my Soulscar mage, sure. So we've got 5 points on the board from 2 hard-to-block cards. Our opponent probably is just about out of removal. Nope, never mind. 5 damage to target creature. We're going to need some good cards, though. We're not out of the woods just yet. Crawling Barrens. I prefer that over Torbrand, because at least we can pump that at the end of turn and activate it if we draw nothing. Dust Legion Zealot. Annoying, for sure. So decline, and that's actually maybe the greatest card that we could have possibly drawn. That means now we can have a 4-2 Halberblade that doesn't have to make me discard into the Zealot, which is something I'm sure that we're very much hoping for. None of you will actually believe me, but I did will this into the top of my deck internally. I was like, wow, that 1-1 against my 3-1 sure would be annoying if I couldn't get +1/+1 to my Halberblade. Aethersphere Harvester. Okay. So that can trade with a Halberblade, but not really. It's a crew 1, so the Zealot can crew it up. It will literally die to my Halberblade attack if I put the counter on it, which I think is what I plan on doing here. Could even activate Crawling Barons and get him for 4, and then at least that way we're actually pushing some damage through. Lannery Storm's just not going to quite cut it here, I don't think. She can be a 3-3 and then a 4-3 with the Treasure Sack. And it gets us closer to Torbrand, but I don't think it's really all that great. So I think we're going to make a 4-4 Crawling Barons here. We're then going to make Halberblade a 5-3. And I think we're just swinging with everything. If they want to block Harvester on Aspirant, that's totally fine with me. If you got opponent. They're actually 1 point away from lethal, and I don't think Harvester being crewed up on the next turn can really save them. Which is why I'm getting in with the Aspirant, which it might as well, because it's probably a free bit of damage here if they block the Crawling Barons. And it could make all the difference. So it's up to them. Do they want me to discard and lose their Harvester, or do they want to block 4, or do they want to kill the Aspirant? They're going to go with the Aspirant kill here, which I'd say is perfectly reasonable. But we're still in hard-to-kill territory here with indestructible and instant speed removal only Crawling Barons, which will be a 6-6 next turn. So I can't see our opponent having a creature that easily blocks all of this. Rampaging Ferocydon. That actually stops them from playing creatures. Which is kind of funny, but only until they play their Harvester. But players can't gain life, right? So, I mean, what do they do? Kabira Takedown. I could use that to kill the Dust Legion Zealot. Trade into the Harvester. Yeah, that's too cute. We're gonna go Crawling Barons. Swing with the team. So it's Ferocydon blocks Halberblade, Harvester blocks Barons. They go up to 4. Well, they don't go up to 4 because Ferocydon's stopping them from doing that. I think, by the way, that this combat math is going to work out. It's going to be on the battlefield at the time they gain life, so they shouldn't gain anything from this as much as they would like to. Ooh. Well, I'm gonna kill the Harvester. And then you're gonna die. Not sure what they had planned there. I think either bad math or they knew they were just dead anyway and it was just a matter of time. Like, even if they gained the 3 points from the Harvester, they're still at -1, so it had to be bad math checking out there. If they were to assume they gained that life, which, you know, they can't. But, yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. What are we now? We're something and 1, 3 and 1, 2 and 1, 3-1. Alright, 2 more wins left to go before this was a free cube. 2 losses left to go until I embarrass myself. We'll see which one it'll be. On to the next game. Okie dokie, on the draw. Every single 2-drop in our deck is in our hand. A little bit of a flooded hand here. But I think between the Adanta Vanguard and the Direfleet Daredevil, we've got a pretty good attacking force here. It's just a bit of a weird one. I almost want to mulligan it, honestly. But I'm not going to, because I'm weird. And I have a weird feeling about this one being quite good. Rekindling Phoenix is a pretty good card. So, you know what? If I'd have mulliganed, I might not have drawn that this game. Abzan for our opponent, and foretells a card. Alright, well, we're going to go with the Adanta Vanguard, because it attacks for the most immediately. So while the board is clear, that's what I want to do. I want to attack in a way that doesn't cost me 4 life every time. Declaration in Stone, wow. Alright, totally fine. Claim the firstborn for us. So we could Declaration in Stone with the Direfleet Daredevil now. That's a card on the table. Excuse me. Hit you for 2. And I don't think I'm claiming to give Pyromancer haste. I can foresee our opponent actually playing a card here that I can claim later down the line. Doomscar a 2-1. Oh, wow. You love to see it. Actual god tier. Alright. So now Direfleet plus Declaration Stone can hit a big old 5-drop here. Let's think. What could I get off of this clue that would make me want to play it pre-combat? Or draw it pre-combat? I guess any of my haste creatures, really. Any of my haste creatures are red. So I think I go... Well... Boop, boop. Double red is fine. I'm not going to be able to play Torbrand, so... Let's draw this card. Ketra's Monument. Definitely like that. Well, let's swing in for 4 first, see if we need to use our Lightning Strike. Apparently we don't. No real worries about counter magic here. There is an island there, actually. Just noticed that with their Minecraft forest right next to it. So play our land. Declaration in Stone, still the only reasonable card we could play here. We can go with the Lawhold's Command. It's instant speed though, so I could do a flashy 3-2. And maybe draw a card. Yeah, I don't know if Daredevil play here is really what we want, because if our opponent plays like Elder Gargaroth, then we've missed out. Oh. Missed out on our chance to use that, so it's an Approach of the Second Sun deck. So I'm going to make a 3-2. Helix our opponent. They're up to 14. So 10, 7, 4... 2. I think we just get in. And we pass like this, because I think between Rekindling Phoenix and this Lightning Strike, we haven't really got anything to worry about. So they need 6 lands on top if they want to get... Ugh. Choose a creature type. Creatures that aren't the chosen type get -3/-3. So they choose anything, basically, that is not Phoenix or Spirit. So, Ape. Do they have the answer to the Phoenix? They do not. I'm gonna hit them now. Not sure it really matters. I guess it does to a certain extent, because our opponent could look at their board state and think to themselves, I'm not going to die to this Phoenix, when in actual fact they just did. Yeah, I was confident they didn't have anything there, which is why I didn't Daredevil into Claim to swing for 2, because even if I did that, I'm not presenting lethal. And there's nothing other than, I guess, Abundant Harvest that I could get there. So maybe actually, yeah, I probably should have Daredeviled for Abundant Harvest and shot that off for non-land. And just tried to check and see if we actually could have done a little bit more overkill. Because that's 3 mana, so I could do a Heroic Reinforcements or something like that. Between the Daredevil then being 3 1s and 2 2/2s coming at their face, that's kind of like extremely, extremely powerful and probably can't be beaten in that sense. But yeah, we're now 4-1? Yeah, 4-1. 1 more win, and this cube was free. I do love playing the aggro decks in this cube. I think they're pretty damn powerful, and not many people seem to pick them, I've noticed. Every time I played like Boros aggro in this cube, it's always felt like it's been open. It's weird. It's I guess it's underrated, but I'm not sure. Either way, let's go for what I'm hoping is going to be our next win, but who knows. Alrighty then, on the play. 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop. That's a sneep. That's a sneep right there. On the play as well, by the way. So we're going to go Soulscar Mage. Turn 2, probably hit something. If they play like a Llanowar Elves or a Gilded Goose, I'm going to snap it off immediately. Archfiend's Vessel, I think, is on that list, because I want to have Bone Crusher Giant as a creature ready to go for a Ketra's Monument. I'm pretty sure. And I definitely want to keep keeping the aggro going here. I suppose I could see if they want to block first. Is that worth it? Yeah, maybe. Do you want to block? If you don't block, then I have my Stomp available to either hit their turn 2 play or just the Vessel anyway. So they're just going to go for it. I'll take this chance, and hopefully they didn't have Village Rights there. That would have sucked. Or Malakir Rebirth. Mana Screwed? Esper. Something entirely different. Alright. Monument is down. We're now producing 1/1s for every creature we play for the rest of the game. Really difficult for our opponent to control the board with something like that around. Demonic Tutor should be a pretty decent answer to anything. Bit of demo. So I'm guessing they're either going for a land for a Wrath or the Wrath itself. So for me, I want to play Crawling Barrens so I can lose the Summoning Sickness on it. I'm not going to be able to enable the Soulscar Mage here, so let's get him for the 1. I think I'm just playing the Bone Crusher they know about. Although it's a better attacker and plays better into targeted removal, so maybe not. I could actually Demonic Tutor with Direfleet Daredevil. Oh, that seems really good. Let's do that. Mana Tide's the only thing we have to concern ourselves with, and it looks like they don't have it. You know, I hadn't considered Demonic Tutor. It's pretty decent. What do we want? We got Pick of the Litter now. Do we just want, like, one of our pump spells? Like, Heroic Reinforcement seems really good. I think that's all I really need. Yeah, let's just take Heroic Reinforcements. Pretty decent rebuild. So, here we go. Do you have the board wipe? Conclave Tribunal is almost certainly what they dug for there. There's a Kabira takedown. So I can Pyromancer Bone Crusher post-combat. Hit them for 4 down to 12. Pretty disgusting blowout after a board wipe, but they tutored and they didn't go for a board wipe. That should say a lot. I don't think they've got one. I think that's where we're going. Alright, moment of truth. We got lethal already on the board. Single targeted removal is not an issue, since we can make up for it with the reinforcements. So it has to be a board wipe or a big old lifelinker. Cold Steel Heart ain't it, Chief. Killer of Giants, unable to destroy the Bone Crusher Giant that will destroy them. Let's smoke. Oh. 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 Oh, Boros aggro. Oh, you do please me so much. What an absolute joy to play this deck. Alright, we have officially earned ourselves a free draft. Anything else from there is 1,000 profit. And then, well, currently we're already profiting 2 rares and an uncommon, which are probably gems or something I already have. But then it's 1,000 gold and then 2,000 gold from there on. Let's see if we can do it. I actually, from what we've done so far, I'm pretty confident we can get the 7-1. I think it's doable. Next game. Alright, we go first. We've got Earthshaker Kenra as our 2-drop, Aketra's Monument as our 3. And then we could do Reinforcements or Phoenix on 4. My concern here is the potential to need to play Kabira Takedown as a land here. We've got plenty of draws to find one, though. So maybe we just take the chance. Worst case scenario, I think we're behind on our 3-drop. Luminarch Aspirant. So I guess we play that now, because that's got late game value. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have Mana Tithe here. I think they do. Oh. Oh, that's a stinger. Yeah, I would have much preferred to play the Kenra into that. And, well, there's our 3rd land. So now we get to go Aketra's Monument. That resolves. Oof. It's been on my mind for this entire queue, but every single time I thought it was going to arrive, it never did. So I just kind of wrote it off at that point. I was like, there's no way that's going to come back to bite me, right? Let's go Phoenix of Ash. I think Kenra's ETB holds some value in this matchup. Also, it's kind of resilient to a board wipe. We really don't care if that's what they have here. If it's Wrath or Day of Judgment, so be it. We rebuild so quickly and enable the heroic reinforcements along the way. You see, that's an issue that I can solve immediately. But our opponent will draw a card. Because we have to Kabira Takedown for it. I think I'll get them on the... It's a little bit greedy. Actually, no, it's not worth it, because if I attack here the way I want to, our opponent's going to draw a card. If I play this Kabira Takedown, they're going to draw a card. I'm basically setting myself up to draw a card no matter what. So let's get rid of it while our opponent can do nothing. So, next play. For us, if they do nothing here, Usher into Heroic Reinforcements is going to be devastating. Is Settle the Wreckage in this format? Settle the Wreckage has got to be in this format. God, it's in this format, isn't it? It's as much as I'm willing to commit to it, I think. It absolutely is. All right. Well, let's grab loads of red. 1 white, 2 red, I think. Let's go Usher. I think we can enable Usher here, right? We can boast even though it wasn't the one attacking. Oh, did it have to attack? Oh, it had to attack. Okay. Fair enough. Alright, well, we've got Settle out of them. Any other board wipes are going to be telegraphed immediately at sorcery speed. So we'll know they're coming. We can also just, like, make an Earthshaker Kenra if our opponent does wipe the board here. Really in no position to actually commit anything more, because the Usher is adding to the board. Yeah, it's a Cleansing Nova. I'll keep the land in my hand in case of Akum Hellhounds, because it's not going to let me cast Zero Reinforcements here anyway. So let's just make a 4-4. Hit our opponent. That Nova was pretty good. And pretty good for us as well, because they had to play it on creatures instead of the Monument, and the Monument's the thing that's keeping us in this game right now. See if they go after the Monument here. They do. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We've got lethal on them right now. Exactly lethal. We can do overkill lethal though, so let's do that instead. What's better than lethal? More than lethal. Boom. Gorgeous. Love to see it. Interesting use of Settle the Wreckage there. I think I put them in a position where they had to use it. And I'd clearly telegraphed that I know that that's what they're holding. So it's when you want to pull the trigger, honestly, and most people like to hold Settle until, like, lethal is being presented. I couldn't do that in that particular attack, so... yeah, they could have also got me to commit mana to my Phoenix, and they didn't. It's a bit of a weird use of Settle there, but I'll take it. It led to my victory, and my victory has led to Gold Stonks profit right there. Look at that. Beautiful. 6-1. Let's go for the final game. Maybe the final game. If we lose, there'll be some more, so who knows. Let's go. Alrighty then, we're on the play. The really awkward hand, because this is maybe the best hand I've ever seen, as long as one of those mountains is a plains. But it ain't. So we've got a real bad chance of getting completely screwed here. We do seem to draw a lot of white sources, but maybe today's the day that stops. YOLO. We YOLO'd the last one, it worked out. Let's push our luck. We do have a little bit to fall back on, and we've got nothing to lose at this point as well. So let's take what could be the best hand of all time. Well, that is a white source, so I'll take it. It's not exactly how I wanted to play it out, but it'll do. It'll certainly do. And if they're Boros with a Mana Tithe, then that'll be fine. Looks like we're going to get Soulscar Mage killed here. It might get stomped. Perforos's Intervention. It's not the removal spell you see very often. So where do we want to go with this? We could go Phoenix of Ash for the haste. I definitely want to play the red source because I want to be able to open up Torbran as a potential card to play next turn. I suppose if I'm going to do that, then I want a red creature in play. But the earlier Aspirant is in play, the better. Intervention on Soulscar. It's got to mean no removal. It's got to mean no removal. Let's go Aspirant. Such a weird card to use that I can't imagine that they had like a Stomp or a Shock available. I suppose maybe thinking about it, they could have assumed that I could Prowess and therefore I had 3 Toughness, so I don't know. Well, they did twice X, they did twice 1, so yeah, they were still going to get blown out by Prowess anyway. 5 damage to my 2/2. Love to see it. We did not get the Torbrand mana there. That's fine. We are going to go with the Phoenix of Ash, get the Crawling Barons ready to go, so I can attack with that when I need to. Captivating Crew. So you can only do this as a sorcery. I do not want to play Torbrand into that. If they take their entire turn to do that, then that's fine, I think. I'm just going to play Vanguard. Play the land. This means that I can Phoenix and activate. And I've got a ground creature that can go through the crew. They can hit me for 7, but I hit them back for more. Even get the Crawling Barons involved at some point. So I just don't see them using the crew here. It just seems like poor tempo. Domri can do a -2 fight the Phoenix.
You got it.
Yeah, that'd work out. They can't attack though. And I can threaten to kill Domri and trade the Captivating Crew here. So they can get their 4 points in if they want to trade. I doubt they would. You wouldn't crew for 4 points, would you? No, you would not. Oh, it's a Planeswalker. That's lovely. 2, 3, 4. You don't need to tap, do you? So let's get in our opponent. We're going to kill Domri with the Pyromancer anyway, so our opponent might not block here thinking that they're going to keep a living Domri, and that ain't the case. It's dead now. And then my turn can be activate Crawling Barons. I have a red creature back in play for Torbrand to do some work if Pyromancer dies here. I have Phoenix of Ash. Dracoseth. Well, I'm glad I got rid of Domri there, because that would have helped them ramp into it. Definitely would not have appreciated that. Heroic Reinforcements. Okay. That somewhat changes things. I think we're playing it. And we're just sending in the team. I do want Oracle to get killed here, so if they want to block with the Pyromancer, that's totally fine. If they want to trade off a 2/2 for a 4/3, also totally fine. So we know they're drawing Dracoseth, and we know they can't afford it. They're at 5. I have enough cards in my yard now that Phoenix of Ash can come in as a 3/3. He's done it. He has achieved the greatest achievement in Arena Cube history. Only second to the 7/0. He's got a 7 and 1. 6,000 golds, 2 rares. Let's see what the uncommon is. A Paradise Druid. It's bad juju. It is not part of our deck. Irrigated Farmland. Actually a card I want. It's not very often that, you know, I get the rares that I actually want. But an Irrigated Farmland is up there. And a Lannery Storm. I could swear I already had 4 of you, but I don't know. Maybe I have, maybe I had 3, because, you know, why would you want more than 3? As a legendary, it's usually the rule of thumb, you don't want 4 unless they're a build around. But yeah, that was Arena Cube. And a pretty good one at that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. And yeah, we'll be back later on in the week for some more Arena Cube. Sorry this video was late as well. I have now officially sorted out my... Well, I hope I have. I'll find out and be very upset later down the line if the things that I'm saying right now aren't being recorded. I will be very upset. Because, you know, typical win a 7 7-win cube and then nothing was recording the entire time. I'd cry. I would probably cry. But yeah. We're going to assume, because you're seeing this, that I did not cry. And yeah, today's been a great day. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. Do the likes, subscribes, the comments, the usual stuff. And hopefully you guys also have a fantastic day. Take care and good night.